Here's the thing, to-do lists are literally the worst productivity tool unless you're a robot. Now, last time I checked, I'm not a robot yet, or at least I don't think I am. Or I could be an AI program, who knows? But I am not a robot, so I cannot work through a to-do list. And this is why I hate to-do lists, because they are literally like this long list of commands that I feel like I have to work through in order to feel complete satisfaction with my life. And whilst I've got incompletes on that to-do list, it kind of makes me feel a bit icky and kind of chips away at my self-worth. Comment below, are you the same with your to-do list? Do you get fired up over your to-do list and it makes you feel really productive? Or do you look at your to-do list and think, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to get all of this stuff done? Now, I've actually started using a little, I don't want to say hack. I hate the whole like productivity hacks kind of mindset, like hacking into something. It just sounds really aggressive. But that said, it is a turn of phrase. So I do have this like productivity hack for my to-do list where I do a thing called energy tagging. Yeah, it sounds kind of weird. It's like geotagging or something, but it's far simpler than that. You do not have to leave your home to do it. There is no hidden treasure buried in a forest somewhere like geotagging. With energy tagging, we are literally just going to go through our to-do list and mark things in terms of the energy required to complete them. Now, it sounds a bit basic. I know there is a little bit more to it, which I'm going to go into in this video, because yeah, just tagging something with some energy levels is still not going to get the job done, is it? So let's look at how I actually do this energy tagging and how it helps me to get my to-do list items done. So a little bit of a backstory. Now, downloading your mental to-dos onto a sheet of paper is a great start. We definitely should do that, because the cognitive effect of holding all of that open in your mind, it creates these open loops, to use David Allen's language from the Getting Things Done method. And you don't want that, because it's almost like it creates a background anxiety of trying to hold all of these things, like literally holding it all in your memory, and you're just constantly worried that you're forgetting something, and it's like you're trying to spin multiple plates at the same time and not let anything drop. And trust me, you probably will drop something if you're trying to hold it all in your head. So by getting it down on paper, that is a great start. It frees up some of our cognitive power, and it just emotionally and mentally can help us breathe a sigh of relief. We don't have to hold everything. But the next step, and this is where there's some scientific research behind making a plan for completing our to-do list. Turns out that the mere act of actually planning how you're going to complete tasks can help you even more in terms of reducing the obtrusive thoughts and the sort of background anxiety that you might get from having all this like big long to-do list. I'll pop a link to the study in the description below. For the study, it was more where people would, in the middle of doing a task, and then they were forced to stop in the middle of that task to switch on to something else. And rather than let the entire group just switch on to the other task, they had half of the group plan how they would finish that incomplete task. So I am kind of making a bit of a bridge here in terms of transferring that to a to-do list. But just by making a plan of how you're going to complete tasks really helps to, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it really helps to relieve any cognitive pressure or obtrusive thoughts that you're going to be having. So that's the first thing. But the energy tagging, this is where the energy tagging comes in, because this for me is the first step to make my to-do list plan. I mean, I know it sounds really weird, making a plan to do your to-do list. It sounds like you're creating double the work, but trust me, just by making a plan makes it feel more doable, and it's going to help to reduce those feelings of, oh, I'm never going to get through this list, or when you get to the end of the day and you've still got this long list and hardly anything's been ticked off it. This is where we're going to avoid that feeling, because we're going to get real in using this energy tagging method. So let's have a look at the tips. So to get started with an energy-based to-do list, you're going to need two things. You're going to need something to create your to-do list on, and you're going to need a daily schedule. So this could be ideally in the form of a planner insert, whether you're a digital planner or like me, you're a paper planner, but this could be a page in your journal, or if you have a diary that you use for your daily schedule, whatever it is, where you've got a time-based schedule on the page so that you can start assigning things. And I will get to that in a moment. So what you're going to want to do is create your to-do list as normal, but you're going to want to not just have a column where you can tick off the items as you do it. You're going to want a column where you can start energy tagging the items as well. So your to-do list might have 3 columns: a column that you use to tick when the task is completed, a column to use as a description or a short title for the to-do list item, and then a column where you're going to actually mark it in terms of energy tagging. Now, I like to quickly energy tag using a 3-level grading system. You could use more, but honestly, I think you're going to be complicating things. It's like you're fine tuning between, oh, is it kind of high energy or slightly high energy? By just having a 3-level grading system of low energy, medium energy, and high energy, it's just going to allow you to be really quick. You don't want to, like I said, it sounds like making a plan for your to-do list sounds like more work, and we don't want it to feel like more work. We want it to be quick and easy. So 3 levels: high, medium, and low energy levels. So the low energy tasks are pretty much the things that can be done, say, in 2 to 5 minutes. They don't require a lot of energy, whether that's physical or mental energy, and they're things that you can pretty much just get straight on with. You're not waiting on anything from anybody. You're not having to search up emails and do replies and wait for someone to come back to you, blah, 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 blah. It's like low energy, can get it done. Now, on the flip side of that, the high energy tasks are the ones that are going to be quite mentally draining or physically draining. They're going to take you more than 5 minutes, probably more like 40 minutes, maybe an hour, maybe even 2 hours. They could be things where there are several components to completing this to-do list item. Maybe it needs to be broken down into smaller chunks to make it more manageable. But those would be the high energy tasks that can't be like a quick win. And then obviously medium level energy is in between medium. It's in between a low and high. So it's not like a 2 to 5 minute job, but it's also not something that's complicated and is going to take a lot of your time to complete it. So as you go through your to-do list that you're creating, I like to have a master to-do list within my planner. I use an insert that I've called the LTP Inbox, and that stands for the log tag plan inbox, and it's basically an insert where I can list out my to-dos, and there's a column where I can start energy tagging them. There are a few other columns. I'm not going to talk about those in this video. Instead, at the end, I will link to a video where I talk a bit more in depth about it. This video is specifically about the energy tagging column. So once I've got all of my to-dos into my inbox, I can start energy tagging them and thinking about, okay, is this a quick win? Is this something that's a bit more complicated? Is there something that I can maybe squeeze in between doing other tasks? And I just start thinking solely in terms of the energy that is going to be required for me to get this task started or completed, or both. Now, the daily schedule. This is where the daily schedule comes in, because as I said before, a to-do list is a terrible productivity tool unless you are a robot. Why am I saying that? Because a robot can be programmed to work through a command list in a set order, and it's not going to drain its energy, really. You could just plug it into the mains and I don't know, maybe it has a battery. But if it doesn't have a battery and it's just plugged into mains, or it's solar powered and it just keeps going, it will just keep going, and it will just keep going through the list, and it won't be fatigued by having to just work through a long list of to-dos. But us human beings, we cannot do that. It feels stifling, it feels soul crushing, because our freedom is now like out the window. Bye-bye. Don't work through your to-do list top down. I hate working through my to-do list top down for the reasons I've just said. The other method you could use would be to cherry pick the things off of the list in no particular order. But if you do that, you're probably going to cherry pick the easy wins, and it will just be the big, scary, mammoth to-do list items left on there that are going to take forever, or like have lots of paperwork involved in them that you really don't want to do. And that's not great either, because that's just going to make your to-do list feel even worse if the things that are left on there are just like the big, scary, hairy things that you don't want to tackle. So we don't want to do that method either. That's why we want our daily schedule and our energy tagging, because we are going to kind of do a little bit of cherry picking here. But we're not just going to cherry pick the easy fun things, we're going to actually look at tackling the big hairy things as well. So what I like to do when I've got my daily schedule, I will have a look at my inbox and see what is on my inbox. What's the mission critical things that I need to get done this week? Out of those things I need to get done this week, what are the things that I can actually get done today? Once I know what I ideally need to be working on today, I can put the high energy tasks at the beginning of the day. Why at the beginning of the day? Because that's when I'm most likely going to have the energy, mentally and physically, to complete that item. Another reason why I'm going to use my daily schedule is I'm not going to look at my to-do list and think, I've got to get all of this done. I'm going to look at my to-do list, look at the slice of day that I've got to work with in order to get those to-do list items done. And I'm going to see, okay, I can take this high energy task and I can put it in this morning block. Then I can have some lunch. Then I can move on to my early afternoon block, and maybe I can fit this medium energy level to-do list item in just after lunch, when I've still got a little bit of energy, depending on what I've eaten. You know, there might be that food coma that you get when you're like, you need to do the rest and digest thing. So again, you have to know your body, listen to your body, work with your natural energy levels. So I might put a medium level to-do list item after lunch, and then I think, okay, well, maybe towards the end of the afternoon I can fit 2 low energy tasks in before I go off and do the school run, or maybe I might do 1 low energy task before the school run, and then I think, well, whilst the dinner is cooking, I can squeeze another low energy task in after the school run. And that's going to just make me be way more realistic with my to-do list. I'm not going to look at it and think, oh my goodness, I've got this long list, I've got to work through everything, absolutely all got to be done in order for me to feel like a valuable human being who has contributed positively to the world today. No, forget that. Instead, we're going to look at that to-do list and we're going to be real with, okay, I've got all of these things. I can't do them all today. What can I realistically do today? And by seeing that schedule of time and seeing that realistically I can get 3, maybe 4 of these items from this list done today, then you can be a lot easier on yourself because you've thought through it. Now, there's always going to be the planning fallacy, and I don't have time in this video to talk about the whole research that's been done into planning fallacy. And that's why buffer time is important. I've spoken about buffer time before. I can't remember which video it is, but I will link to it in the description as well. Like, having buffer time in between your tasks really, really helps if you like overrun a little bit on one where you maybe wasn't quite as focused, or you just, as I said, the planning fallacy, you underestimated the time required to complete that task. But yeah, getting real, having that daily schedule and seeing, yeah, this is realistically what I can do with my slice of day that I've got ahead of me. I'm not going to beat myself up by trying to tackle this entire list, because that's going to just make me feel really defeated and demoralized with myself. Instead, I'm going to think, yeah, I can get those things done today. And if I have to bump one of them over to the next day, then the next day is a fresh day. And again, I'm going to look at, okay, what have I got on my list? What didn't I complete from today? And what can I realistically do? And for me, that just meant that firstly, I could see at the end of the day exactly what I've done. There was no beating myself up with, oh, you should have got more done today. You've got this massive list. You've hardly done anything. What's the matter with you? You must be lazy. I can't believe that you haven't achieved that thing yet. Why is that item still on your to-do list? Stops all of that, because you've looked realistically at your day and realistically at what you can do. So you go to bed and you, if that voice pops up, you can just say to it, look, I did what I did with my day. I can see how I spent it. I've achieved stuff. And to be honest, I haven't even found that that voice really pops up now that I'm using this energy tagging method alongside having my inbox, having my daily schedule. It doesn't pop up for me because I know what I've done today. I know that I've been realistic, and I know that I haven't kind of overstretched myself or set these lofty to-do list goals. One other thing I should say, going back to these energy tagging things and putting them into the day, don't try and do like a whole day of high energy tasks. You're going to drain yourself so quickly, and that will create those kind of demoralizing feelings that you're going to get of, oh, I didn't get this done, I didn't get that done. Like I said, have that high energy task in the morning, then go for maybe a medium energy task around the midday, and then maybe a couple of low energy tasks later on in the day when you're going to really feel crushed for time. Like for me, I've got that school run. It really does cut my day quite short, where most people are going to be working until 6 o'clock. I've got until 3 o'clock. So I've got a much shorter day to work with, a lot less hours. So I know that I can maybe do one low energy task before the school run, and I might have to bump another low energy task for after the school run. Having it as the high, medium, low in your day, and not having more than one high energy task per day, that's going to really help as well. So for me, and I think this is going to be a bit of like my catchphrase for me, I know that if I do a to-do list where I've used energy tagging and I've been realistic with it alongside a daily schedule, I'm just going to feel way more productive, and I'm going to avoid that beating myself up at the end of the day, wondering where the time went, wondering what I've actually managed to get done, and still feeling like I've got this horrible list of stuff looming. So planner friend, I hope that this has been helpful for you. If you're one of those people that had like the crazy to-do lists all over the place, super long and just making you feel horrible, then I hope this is giving you a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, something to test out, see whether it works for you. I know we all process things differently. Maybe me as a creative, I can't do a to-do list. Maybe someone who's a bit more analytical, they can run through a to-do list in order and feel a great sense of achievement. I think us creatives, we like our freedom. We don't like too much restrictions on ourselves. And sometimes a to-do list can feel a bit like the confines of commands. So yeah, if you're a creative type, I definitely reckon you're going to love doing energy tagging on your to-do list. So let me know in the comments what you think. And if you like this kind of productivity stuff for, I guess, more creative types, then do subscribe to the channel and check out the newsletter. I'm over on Substack. I post weekly newsletters on there, and if you become a paid subscriber, I even do free printable planner inserts as well. I do that every month, so you can get a little library of printables going as well, which is quite handy. And I talk about more topics like this. There are loads of links to studies if you like geeking out over research, data or data. I link to other YouTube videos. Like, yeah, I really enjoy creating the content over there and then trying to smush it into a video over here. So yeah, I hope to see you over at Substack. There will be a link in the description. There'll be lots of lovely links in the description. So just click that more button and it will expand and you'll see all of these gorgeous extra things that you can geek out over if you want. Until next time, planner friend, let's keep writing stuff down and getting stuff done.